guys list videos writing on paper. You guys have been responding positively to these recently, so I wanted to do another one here, and I have an interesting topic for today, in my opinion. The 10 most popular sports. Now, this is worldwide, so we aren't just talking about the United States, not just talking about Europe, Asia, whatever. This is the 10 most popular sports globally. And we'll start at number 10, work our way down the list, ending with number 1. And these are both team sports and individual sports. So some of these will be like Olympic team sports, or Olympic individual sports rather, instead of professional team sports. So, to start off our list at number 10, at number 10 we have rugby. Now, rugby is a sport I do not know much about, but I will quickly have to learn to understand and appreciate the sport as I move. If you don't know, I'm moving to Australia, so I'll have to learn to appreciate and love the sport of rugby. Globally, rugby is followed by approximately 475 million fans. Tonga is it's the most popular sport in Tonga. It's also extremely popular in Australia and New Zealand, as well as France and Fiji. Tonga has a very large number of Tongan players in the professional rugby leagues around the world and in international rugby competitions. Speaking of leagues, there are 4 notable rugby leagues to mention. They are English Premiership Rugby, also called Gallagher Premiership Rugby. It is the top English rugby competition. There's 13 teams, and apparently they're thinking of adding more teams. I'm not sure, but this is considered the best rugby league in the world by most people. In close competition with the English Premiership would be France, top 14, and then the other 2 rugby leagues leagues of note are Japan Rugby League 1, and Australian Super Rugby, which is the league that I will be watching. So that is our 10th most popular sport. Next, we move on to number 9. Honestly, number 9 kind of shocked me a little bit. I thought maybe this would be slightly higher, maybe 8, maybe 7, maybe even number 6. But at number 9 we have baseball. Now, baseball is known as America's pastime. There was a time where the MLB was the most popular league in the United States, and that baseball was the most popular sport in the United States. Nowadays, the NFL is the clear number 1 league in the U.S., and the NBA is quickly catching up to the NFL, and the NBA has eclipsed the MLB in popularity. So baseball, over the last couple decades, has fallen down to the number 3 spot. You see a huge Asian fan base in baseball, primarily in Japan, but also in Korea and Taiwan, a little bit in China, but not as much. You see a lot of baseball fans and players through Latin America, specifically places like Venezuela and the Dominican Republic. Globally, baseball has 500 million fans for baseball. And like I said, it is the largest sport in Japan. Even their high school games is like a national event. If we're talking professional baseball leagues, there's really only 2 leagues of note for baseball. 2 leagues at the professional level, at least, that are really worth paying attention to or caring about if you're a professional player or a fan of high-level play. Major League Baseball, of course, the MLB, the Professional Baseball League in the United States, of which I follow the Seattle Mariners. They're my favorite baseball team, my favorite MLB team, and the second best league in the world, solidly the second best professional league. You see a lot of players coming over to MLB from this league. You see MLB players going to this league either when they're not good enough to cut it or at the end of their careers and they're starting to slow down a little bit. And that is Nippon Professional Baseball in Japan. It's the professional league in Japan. I follow the Tokyo Yakult Swallows a just lost in the Japan series, unfortunately, to the Oryx Buffalo like a month or so ago. I was very disappointed in that, especially because they had like a 2-game lead and choked up 3 straight to lose it. But Nippon Professional Baseball, solidly the second best baseball league in the world, and a really fun league. If you're an American who's never heard of the league, I would suggest looking into it a little bit. I've done a few videos about it on this channel, and there's a pretty fun video game based on the league that I have some gameplay of on this channel. And I hope to someday soon go and see a Tokyo Swallows game in person. Alright, now it's time for number 8. And this one definitely shocked me, especially with the number of fans. But then when I realized where this sport is most popular, it started to make sense. At number 8 we have table tennis, sometimes colloquially called ping pong here in the United States, based on the sound of the ball going across the table. Table tennis is the most popular sport in China, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And those are obviously 3 countries with massive, massive, massive populations. So because of that, table tennis has an estimated 875 million fans. Almost 1 billion fans are fans of table tennis. Now, I thought that table tennis was sort of like tennis or badminton, where it was an individual sport. It was mainly an Olympic sport, and the professional circuit was doing things like opens and things like that. But I was shocked to find out there are actual professional table tennis leagues around the world. And the only one that's really worth mentioning is the league that is without a doubt the strongest, the best, the most popular table tennis league in the entire world. And that is the Chinese Super League. Professional players from all across the world sign for clubs in the Chinese Super League. Also, China, who dominates the Chinese Super League. All of their best players, or China, who dominates table tennis at the Olympics on the global stage, all their best players play in the Chinese Super League. I'm not sure how many, let's see, how many clubs are in the Chinese Super League. There are, so this is a little bit old. Hold on, let me look. I just want to see how many clubs are in this league, because I'm just now learning about it. There are 18 teams. The best team is the Guangzhou FC, which is, well, Guangzhou FC is the soccer team, the football team, but look looks like they have a subsidiary in table tennis. Interesting. So, your clubs, you have Shenzhen, Dalian. So you can see the Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Dalian, Guangzhou City, Hebei, Henan, Meizhou, Shandong, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Tianjin, 2 teams in Wuhan, and then a team in Zhejiang. So, that is the Chinese Super League. I literally moments before hitting record learned about its existence. Like I said, the Chinese Super League is far and away the best league, but the German Bundesliga is considered the second best league in the world, and I just wanted to put more than one choice on here, but all the best players in the world go to China to play professionally. Okay, next up at number 7. This is another sport that might be shocking to a lot of Americans. This is another sport that is kind of considered more of an Olympic sport than a professional sport for many of us. That would be volleyball. Yes, volleyball. The thing about volleyball that I found interesting is it isn't really the most popular sport in any one country. However, it is moderately to somewhat popular in basically every country. It's played in the US at the college level and high school level. It's played in Europe. It's played in South America. Brazil tends to have really good outings in volleyball in the Olympics. So does the US. So volleyball is just one of those sports that's sort of popular everywhere, and because of that, it's amassed a global following of an estimated 900 million fans. Now, Olympic volleyball is the most popular venue of viewing and watching the sport, but I did find out that there are a few professional leagues far and away, sort of like how China dominates table tennis. Volleyball is completely dominated, and all the best talent, it's not even a debate. All the best talent, the best league in the world is in the Italy Superliga. It has the best clubs in the world: Lube, Cavetanova, Trentino Volley, Perugia, Modena, excuse me. Basically, if you're the top level player, you can go to Italy. It's a fairly affordable country. There's a Champions League. Players can earn a full-time professional living there, making over €1 million a year playing volleyball. That is the top talent, the top clubs, the top everything. It's in the Italian Superliga. Italy Superliga. Then just to put a second one, like I said, it's not really a debate what the best league is. It is clearly Italy. However, the number 2 league in the world is which is in Russia. The interesting thing about this that I noticed is it seems like the Italy game is more focused on the women's side, and the Russian league is more focused on the men's side. But again, this is just super preliminary. I might be wrong about that. If you're a volleyball fan, feel free to correct me, but that's just what it seemed like to me. The Italian league was bigger on the women, the Russian league was bigger on the men. But the number 2 league in the world is the Volleyball Super League in Russia. Alright, and finally, to get to the end of our top page, here at number 6. We have badminton. Badminton, not that popular in the United States. Growing up, people here much more likely to play tennis and never really take it seriously either. Most people do it as more of a workout than they do as a sport, right? It's more of just like a cardio exercise. But even here in the US, badminton never seemed popular. Definitely not compared to tennis. But globally, badminton has. $950 million fans. It is a huge sport across basically all of Asia, China, Japan, even parts of India. That is where badminton is most popular. That's where a lot of your top players are coming out of, is that part of the world. But I looked into it. I did not see any badminton professional leagues. This is like a solo duo sport, mostly an Olympic sport. So you're individual athletes. You're doing things like opens, things like that. You're not playing for clubs. Again, if you know better, let me know if I'm incorrect. I just did some quick research, but it seems like it's more like tennis, where you're just an individual. You go to opens, you go to events, but there isn't a professional league and club structure. But now we turn to the next page. Next page, and we start. This is our last few here. We come to number 5. Number 5, this one didn't really shock me. Again, because here in the US, this is the more favored sport over badminton. So seeing badminton at 6, this at 5 just made sense. Tennis. We have tennis. Now I follow tennis a little bit, very, very casually. Like I love Federer and Nadal. I've talked a little bit about that. I've played AO tennis a few times on this channel. Tennis isn't really that popular in the US where I live, but I know that through Europe, parts of Asia, tennis is massively popular. And the interesting thing about tennis is it's an individual sport, not a team sport. It is estimated tennis, there are 1 billion fans. So we get to our first sport with a billion fans, and that is tennis. Next up we have number 4, and this one honestly completely shocked me. until I looked into how they classified it. So stick with me here, because you're probably going to be shocked too. Hockey. Again, I know what you're thinking. There's no way hockey is more popular than some of these sports. And if we're talking strictly ice hockey, you are correct. But ice hockey is the least popular form of hockey. This is accounting for both ice hockey, which is popular in the US, Canada, Russia, Scandinavian countries, places like that get very cold. But this is also including field hockey. And field hockey is one of the most popular sports in both India and Pakistan. And those are two countries with massive, massive populations. So hockey has an estimated 2 billion fans. Again, a majority of these fans are supporting field hockey coming out of India and Pakistan. I'd say ice hockey probably has 200 million followers at best, at absolute best, 200 million followers, maybe 300. So we'll start here with the, if you're talking ice hockey, so we're going to divide this up. We're going ice and field. We're dividing it into two. Ice hockey, of course, you have the National Hockey League, the NHL, the biggest professional league in the world, North America, US and Canada. Number 2, the second best league in the world, pretty much everyone agrees. The Continental Hockey League, that is the league that is out of Russia. I think there's one team in China. All in all, I think there's 6 teams outside of Russia, and the rest are inside Russia. But those are pretty much the 2 leagues you want to talk about when you're talking about ice hockey. Now with floor hockey, the only one I could find, field hockey rather. I was looking, and the only one I could really find was the Euro Hockey League. Now, I might just have not done a good enough job. If you know of better field hockey leagues, please let me know. I'd love to know more about it. It's just that, looking, that's all I could find was the Euro Hockey League. I'm sure there's probably a league in India or something, but I just couldn't find it. Alright, next up at number 3. And this is a sport that was for a long time my favorite sport until hockey recently overtook it. In hockey, I follow the Vegas Golden Knights, of course. I've talked about that many times on this channel. And, I've sort of, this is still my second favorite sport, but it used to be far and away number 1. That is, basketball is the thing about basketball that's interesting is a lot of its popularity is all recent. Like, it's absolutely blown up, I'd say, like, post 1980s, 1990s. And you see basketball, it's like huge in China, it's huge through Europe, it's massive in the Philippines, Australia. Like, basketball's really popular, and it's getting popular all over the globe, because similarly to soccer, or most of the world calls football, basketball can be played very, very cheaply. All you need are shoes, a ball, and something to put the ball into. Whereas something like hockey, for example, you need skates, puck, stick, pads, helmet, goal, stuff like that. You need ice. Basketball, you need shoes, a ball, and a hoop, and you really don't even need shoes. Basketball is an estimated 2.4 billion fans. Billion fans. Now, of course, you're talking popular basketball leagues, the one everybody's going to talk about. The National. The National Basketball Association, the NBA, the US-based North American Basketball League. All the best players in the world play in the NBA. And the cool thing about the NBA is we're seeing a lot of European talent coming in and performing at a really high level in the league recently. Dirk Nowitzki kind of started it off, but there were guys before Dirk, of course. Personally, for me, Petrovic, one of the biggest what-ifs in the history of the league, but nowadays you have guys like Jokic, Doncic, Giannis, you have like Bogdanovic, it goes on and on and on, and you have, guys like Yao Ming from China came in, you have Australian players like Joe Ingles, Ben Simmons, Josh Giddey. It is a global game, and that is an amazing part of the sport. It's awesome to see all this global talent in the NBA. And part of the reason why is that the second most popular league in the world is the EuroLeague, which is a club competition, sort of like the Champions League in a way, but sort of different, where the top teams from domestic leagues all across Europe compete against each other. In the NBA, I'm a fan of the Portland Trail Blazers. In EuroLeague, I follow Bayern Munich basketball, because I'm a Bayern Munich fan in the Bundesliga for soccer, so I follow them for basketball as well. And then also for probably the best domestic league in Europe, and the domestic league that has produced the most EuroLeague champions, with Real Madrid and Barcelona, would be Liga ACB, which is based out of Spain. So basketball takes home the bronze medal, the third most popular sport in the entire world. Now we get to number 2. Most of you probably know what this is going to be. For some of our American fans, watchers, this might be maybe a bit of a shock, but for most of us, we know the second most popular sport in the world is cricket. Now, as an American, I know nothing about cricket. make sense to me. I've watched it. I've tried to understand what's going on. I have failed to understand what's going on. But what I do understand is that cricket is massive, and it is only getting bigger. Estimated 2.5 billion fans, a majority of them in India and Pakistan. It is the most popular sport in India and Pakistan. India dominates global cricket, but you also see a lot of fandom in England and Australia as well. Now, the biggest leagues in the world for cricket. Number one, far and away, number one. The Indian Premier League. Like I said, India dominates global cricket, most popular sport there. And the Mumbai Indians are like the New York Yankees of the Indian Premier League. It is, like I said, I don't really understand what's happening. I would love to watch it and understand someday. But I do know that I'm definitely at some point probably going to get into cricket and watch it, because the second biggest league in the world. I'm not sure why I put a 1 there. This should be a dot. Kind of messed things up. The second biggest league in the world is the Big Bash League in Australia. So I'm probably going to be seeing some Big Bash League games, I imagine, at some point in my future. And hopefully learning and understanding how this sport works that is so foreign to me. Now, number one is obvious. We all know what the most popular sport in the world is. And for the sake of my international viewers, football is the most popular sport in the world. It is the most popular sport in most countries in the world. Through most continents in the world, it is the most played sport. Europe, Asia, Africa, South America. There's only one continent besides Antarctica where football is not the most popular sport, and that's North America. Football has an estimated 3.5 billion fans, and you're seeing that now with the World Cup, the FIFA Football World Cup. We're currently getting ready for the semi-finals. Earlier today, Portugal and England were both eliminated. England, not really an upset. That match was 50-50 in my opinion. Morocco beating Portugal, eliminating Ronaldo in his final World Cup chance. That was a bit of a shocker for me. The most popular leagues in the world are, of course, the big dog, where all the big money is right now. personally do not watch the Premier League, but majority of people who are fans of football, especially in English-speaking countries, they watch the Premier League. Now, the number 2 league in the world, the one that used to be the top dog, it used to be the big one where all the talent went, and there's still some semblances of it, especially in South America. Most South American players, this league is sort of the dream league. That is La Liga in Spain. The top dogs there obviously being Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's a league that's dominated by a couple of teams instead of one that's maybe a bit more, with a bit more parity. I'd say the Premier League has a bit more parity, not a ton. You still have a top 4. Some people argue top 6. But La Liga really has a top 2, maybe sometimes a top 3. Now we get to my favorite league, the league that I follow. And that is the Bundesliga. I'm a Bayern Munich fan. Bundesliga definitely more like La Liga, a 2-club league, Bayern and Dortmund. Although in recent years it's mainly been a 1-club league, with it just being Bayern winning the last 11 years in a row, basically. Or is it 10? They've either won 10 or 11. Can't remember, but football, the most popular sport in the world. 3, 2, 1, just like that. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting, relaxing, informative, entertaining. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.